I don't stop working until I got smart. And I found that I was taking a lot of work away from the stunt guys by doing my own stuff. And that was pointed out to me vehemently by a couple of Tony Evers, for one. And he said, you know what you're costing me by doing this stuff? So I stopped doing my own stunt work, except for maybe some of the barroom fights, which I loved. I really did. It was great. And talk about dancing; those things are choreographed right down to the gnat's eye.
And you did all the work with the women in Happy Days? Did you have stunt doubles?
Yeah, I did the stunt work. That was in my contract. I had to do that.
I did my own stunt cheerleading when it's Joni's nemesis.
And I also have to like to say that one of my first jobs when I got to LA, I worked with Robert. I did an emergency. It was one of my first.
That's right, 1973.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Thanks, Josie.
That makes me feel so good.
Yeah, Josie, that's when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
That actually leads me into my next question, is about kind of the family that gets created when you're on a TV series for so long. How much contact do you have with the people that were on the shows with you? So do you still keep in contact with Dallas people?
I do. I went to Larry Hagman's condo in Santa Monica a couple weeks ago. We had breakfast one Sunday morning. Linda Gray and I were in Ireland in December, and then some of the cast, we were in France together, working there, and we did a country music festival in France. It was 5 days, and we opened the festival every day, and then did autographing, and every day we had over 150,000 people come to see us, and it was still, after all these years, that was just mind-boggling to us, and we love being together, whether we're working or just hanging out, and yeah, we're still all very, very close.
Charles in charge?
Oh, well, actually, I was going to say, I work with Victoria Principal. Wasn't she on Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a show with, I just had to mention that.
Oh, okay.
If I was at Dallas.
Okay, so we'll talk after this.
Anyway, okay, so Charles in charge. Yeah, I've seen everybody except for Ellen Travolta since the show has finished, and they're just as funny and sweet and humble as ever.
Okay, I'll answer one. The only existing one is William Smith from Laredo. He's around. Neville Brand is not. Philip Carey is in New York doing One Life to Live. He plays Asa Buchanan on that show. He has been for about 20 years. And I worked with Linda Gray once on one episode of your show.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I flirted with her at a party, and then she turned me down. Can you imagine?
No. Maybe Sue Ellen turned you down.
Oh,
I did.
So there's a lull, Gord.
I'm still in touch with everybody from the show. Anson and I have been really close, and we've been working, like I said, on this project. Ron Howard I saw a few weeks ago. We got to play some golf together, and I worked with him on one of his films. I was in TV. And I saw Henry Winkler just about 5 weeks ago, and Marion and Aaron, and Tom I saw, and we did a reunion on the Today Show just a few months ago, and so it's great. We really were like a family, and it sounds cliche, but I think that's part of what was a main ingredient of the success of our show, is that we really were. We really respected each other and loved each other, and did things together off the set, away from the set, as much as we were on the set at the time. So anyway, it was a great experience.
Well, starting with Laramie, only myself and Bobby Crawford and Dennis Holmes are still here, kicking. And with Wagon Train, the only two left are, let's see, myself, if only the brain still works. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe it's only me that's left, I think. But anyway, an emergency, my God, Julie and Bobby are gone. But I do every now and then see the two boys, Randy and Kevin, that played the paramedics in it. They're still in Los Angeles.
So do you feel closer to the people on your first show, just simply because it was the first series that you worked on, first time kind of in business? Are you closer to them, or is it the same relationship that you had from show to show?
Are you asking me
I
that?
mean, the whole group.
Oh,
Everyone.
Whoever feels like answering.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, John Russell, who played Marshall Van Troop on The Lawman, was my teacher and my mentor when it came to learning film acting, which, by the way, is a heck of a lot different than stage. And he was my friend. He was just a fantastic human being. I loved him so much, and I miss him a lot.
Well, as far as I was very lucky. John Smith and I got along great on Laramie, and of course with Spring Byington and Hobie Carmichael. I knew all the guys on the wagon train. They were good friends, and Julie and Bobby were friends of mine before I started Emergency, and got along great with the two boys. So I'm very, very fortunate to have done 3 series where everybody got along and nobody stepped on anybody's toes, and it was a lot of fun working that way.
I thought we were just talking, like, for example, I thought we were just talking about the show on our, you want us to talk about all our shows that we've done?
Sure,
I think,
yeah.
because you asked if we're close,
Your whole
as
career.
close as, oh,
Yeah.
the whole career.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought it was just Charles Jack. But you want to know if we were closer on other shows?
Yeah, like,
or
is your
closer-
relationship with the Charles in Charge people stronger
Than
than
the other
it
shows?
is with some, simply because it was your first?
Oh, the first show, yeah. Well, I mean, God, it's so different when you're 12, you know? That was just a whole new experience altogether. But yeah, it was like a family. I mean, what's interesting is that we went through puberty during that time, you know, the kids had to grow up, and it was our first show, and we were taught that we had to be adults, really, which was really, you know, difficult. It's difficult when you're a kid and you have all those hormones going, you're supposed to be, you know, an adult and work and everything. Interesting though, I mean, we were very grateful and fortunate. So we really were like brothers and sisters, the kids, and Scott was, you know, he was who we looked up to, which is kind of funny because he's not the most conservative guy in the world. You know, so we, you know, he'd say silly jokes and stuff, and we're like, we're 12, what does that mean? So that was kind of funny. But we, you know, we had the grandfather, James Callahan. He actually passed away this year, unfortunately. What a sweet guy, you know. I mean, I just saw Willie recently. He's a total sweetheart. Everyone's just so humble, and we still have that little. We have those memories of 4.5 years together. You know, see each other 5 times a week is just, for all those years. It's just, you have a bond that just people don't have. I think even with their families sometimes. You know, those experiences, and the laughter was ridiculous. It was fantastic.
Did you guys ever feel typecast, maybe because of some of the roles that you played?
Yes,
in your career?
yes. I had to answer that with that. Yes. People still think, no matter how much I've changed and how many different roles I've played, there are still casting directors that say, no, we don't want to bring her in for film. Even though I do a lot of indies too, there are those people that say, no, she's that sitcom girl from Charles in Charge, and they cannot get it out of their head. I mean, I don't look at anything like that either, or act like that. So.
Sure don't look 12.
And you don't either, sir.
I mean, we have our Cowboys, which obviously you guys played, you know, Cowboys on Westerns, and you're coming in here with your cowboy hats. I assume that's almost who you are now.
That was a directive. We were told, you will wear your Stetsons.
I wear my Stetson all the time. I don't mind being typecast. A lot of people said, aren't you afraid of being typecast? And I said, no, when's my next Western? I would say 90% of all my work in the 52 years in the picture business has been in Westerns. And I'm kind of proud of it. I enjoyed it. You know, Jack Webb talked me out of one to get me to do Emergency. And everybody said, how'd you all of a sudden, you know, wind up playing a doctor? And I said, well, it was a little harder than saying they went that way. But I managed to get it done and got back into Westerns as soon as that was over. And because of it, I'm very proud to say this right now. Last April, I was inducted into the Cowboy Hall of Fame.